Okay, you're here with Kate
and Narkish
on a special edition of Don't Be Extra Unscripted, where we discuss some stories never before heard on our podcast, which these days is pretty easy to do since we're just starting out. We're here in beautiful Mechanicsville, Maryland on probably the nicest day of July 2018. My special guest is my youngest brother, Z Narkish.
Woo! Yeah, it's finally not like balls hot outside.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice day. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go over some stories that Narkish has picked to talk about, and I'm going to let you kick it off.
All right, so I guess we'll start off with the camping trip.
Yes.
All right, what'd you call it? The
I called it the Nazi death hike, actually.
That was a fun one. So my oldest brother decided to ask us to go camping. And where were we? Was it Blue Ridge?
Yeah, I believe it was the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yeah, Blue Ridge Parkway. So we're going up the mountains up there. Kate's driving separate. I'm riding with Andy. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years, and I just got out of the Marine Corps. He's still in.
Yep.
And it's like rain. Did it rain on the first night we were getting there, or on the way up?
I don't think it rained at all.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was
that will
in the middle
be important later.
Yeah, we'll come to that. So we get up there. Kate gets lost on the way up the mountain.
I get lost everywhere I go.
Me and Andy Andy's always he's always got to have the nicest toys. Everything that he always has.
He's an Apple guy.
Yeah, and he's got this super nice Tacoma. Yeah, he had that one. It was a gray. No, that one was red, right?
I can't remember.
He's had so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a screen display. So we were watching Top Gear the whole way up, just watching TV, driving in because we were bad traffic on 95. And we get up there, we get to the parking spot and set up the camping. It was good. It was fun. So the next day, we decided we're going to go on a hike. We're going to go on 2 hikes.
Yep.
The first hike was 6 miles?
About, yeah.
Yeah, it was about 6 miles. It was beautiful out.
Right.
And everybody had camelbacks on. I had a camelback on. Kate had one. Andy had one.
Yes.
And beautiful trip. We're taking pictures, having fun. We get back and decided we're going to go on the next one. The next one was 11 miles?
I believe it was 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a little warmer now.
Yep.
It's more middle of the day. And we picked this one because it had waterfalls. Three waterfalls.
And so everyone gets back and refills their camelback at the car.
Yes. We had a cooler
hikes.
of food and water in the car. Yeah.
I did not. I was like, fuck it. I'm good.
That's right.
So we start on this hike, and it's all downhill, the whole freaking way.
To walk alongside the river.
Yeah, the river, and see these beautiful waterfalls.
Right.
That there wasn't a drop of water.
There was not even a river.
It was a drought.
Yes.
And we didn't realize
one
this.
of the worst droughts in 10 years.
Yeah, we did not realize this.
No. Even at the bottom, there was no waterfall.
No agua.
In which case, you get to the bottom, and then you must go back up.
Yeah, it was it took 3 miles to go downhill?
Yeah.
And then the rest was all going to be uphill?
Yeah.
You got a hornet right next to you.
That's okay.
All right. Anyways, we start going up, and Andy has to pee every 10 minutes because he's old. He's the old man.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you see this, Andy, you know who said that.
And so we're going uphill, and uphill, and uphill, and uphill. And Andy runs out of water first, or you?
I think it was Andy.
Andy runs out of water first. So I start, give him my camelback straw. I'm like, all right, take a sip whenever you need to, blah, blah. So he's sipping on it. Kate runs out of water next.
Yes.
And so she decides that she's going to chug the freaking straw, suck. I had to slap it out of her face because I didn't want her to cramp up. I was like, if anybody goes down with any reason, we're all fucked out here.
My recollection is that Andy ran out of water. I quickly ran out of water right behind him. We're walking back up. I had sweat so much that there was salt on the front of my shirt. And that as we're walking up, we abandoned the actual straight up trail and walked the fire break trail.
Yeah, we had the fire break trail because it would take you to the road.
Yeah, we go to the road. It was more of it
was going to cut 2...
The incline wasn't as great.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad, and it was going to cut 2-3 miles off the trail.
We hadn't seen anybody else the entire time we were there.
Yeah, no one else was they're all fuck it.
Yeah. And basically, I went to take a drink of Narkish's water, a sip, and he's like, don't chug.
Wow.
Yeah, and basically hit me. So yeah.
I rationed out the water. Necessary. I gave just enough.
He's not that good at rationing. If the world comes to an end, you're not the person I want to be spending it with. Let's just say that.
We'll have plenty of water, okay? Because when we got back, we all looked at my Camelback, and I still had half a Camelback full of water.
Yeah, he rationed the water so that he had half a Camelback left. Literally, I thought I was going to die on this trip.
And first thing I did, cracked open a beer.
Yep, and then he starts drinking beer that he had in the cooler. So, yeah, that was a...
She was like, "You're a camel."
Yeah, I think one of my recollections from this trip again is that we originally got our tent site set up, and they gave us this like one that was like right by this like apple tree. And as soon as we get there, Narkish is like, "Isn't it bear season?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, there's lots of bears out there. You know, be really careful. Throw your trash away. Don't keep anything. If you're gonna keep it in the car.
And stay away from apple trees.
And stay away from all like the fruit trees." Because the bears are out right now, and it's literally like over top of our tent.
Nothing but apples everywhere,
All
just laying on the ground.
So that was other fun part.
But we got to talk about the guy that did the dance.
Oh yes,
because this is like this is Misho status.
Well, it is a Misho type story.
Yeah.
One of the fun things about going camping is that you're really treated to like how other people behave. Like either just out and about or like maybe how they behave at home.
And
I'm not sure.
Especially when they are oblivious to like their surroundings.
You're really close to each other.
So they don't really know their voice they're carrying, or you can see them or see their shadows.
Especially at night.
The shadows that they cast. Yes. So the group next to us, they set their tent up, and they had our tent was here, and then like there was the apple trees were here.
Yeah.
Other side was like their tent, and then they had their fire.
Right.
So all the shadows that they did, anything between the fire and their tent, cast right on like a projection screen.
It was like a movie screen. Yeah. And before you think, it was not like an X-rated thing. I think it was just two guys.
I thought it was a guy and his wife or something like that.
Or yeah. Well, anyways,
yeah.
It does not go to where you're thinking.
No, not at all. Because around like 9 o'clock.
Way too weird for that.
9 o'clock, we're just sitting around and like just quietly talking, drinking beer.
Because they have hours where you're not allowed to make a lot of noise in a campsite if you don't know that. If you've never been there, don't be loud at night because your voice really does carry for a really long way.
And so this guy just starts like, we hear this ruckus start up, and then it's like, you can kind of hear like them talking, they're whispering back and forth, and then it gets a little bit louder and you can almost make out what they're saying, and then all of a sudden, chanting. Like,
no shit chanting.
No shit fucking chanting. And this guy starts dancing between the fire and his camp, so just projecting him. It was the craziest thing.
And then the dance.
And he's going like it's up
arms
on
over his head.
Yeah, like going all around, like you thought that he was like stepping on hot coals.
Yeah.
and
we're just kind of like,
but it goes on.
What's going on over there?
And it went on for like a good hour of just this.
It was a long time.
And then they got very quiet, put the fire out, and went to sleep. Or at least we thought they went to sleep.
True.
Around, 2 a.m.?
Around then.
Their truck, like a giant like Mack truck looking thing, pulls up to the campsite. How they even got there, I'm not even quite sure.
Like a tractor trailer truck, like the cab.
They load up all their crap in like moments. Like they were prepared for this, like they've been practicing.
Yeah.
They throw it all in there, jump in, and drive off.
Yep.
About 30 minutes later, torrential winds hit.
First rain they've had up in that area in like months, and it actually happens right after that.
Kate was borrowing Andy's single man tent.
Yes.
And the wind was so bad that it was flapping it down, just like smacking her in the...
It was very loud. If you've never been in a tent in a windstorm, it gets very loud and very
And we're on top of this ridge, so it's like a plateau, so the wind is just whipping across.
And it was a high fire.
And then some idiots...
Around, I think it was before then, but this guy around midnight had shouted out fire, which is basically like yelling fire in a movie theater.
In a drought zone, it's all fields around you and trees, and everything's super freaking dry. It's a tinderbox. Everybody
came out of their tents. We knew that it was a high fire warning. Everyone is looking around for who said it.
And no
one would admit to it. People were pissed. Yeah. It could have been very dangerous because if there was a fire, our lives were in risk.
I thought Andy was
like in California, the people there obviously know that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was not cool. So like when it started raining though, I mean, we were glad they got rain, but we got up in the morning and packed up our stuff and headed on home.
It was just crazy. You've never seen anyone do that before.
Yeah. So it was an extra treat. We didn't get to see waterfalls, but we did get to see like the rain/fire dance.
Yeah.
So
maybe we were just hallucinating it.
I don't know what was in that water you gave us, so maybe that's what it was. But
all right. You want to go into this next one?
Okay, so in 2005, our parents decided that they would take me and Narkish. We do have, 2 other siblings, but they were not in the area. They lived in other states and, other lives.
Thing.
Yeah. So we all ended up going to Ireland, where our family is originally from, to go sightseeing and do that for 2 weeks. And it was very exciting. I don't think either of us had ever been on a plane at that point.
No.
So, so basically we ended up flying from Norfolk, Virginia to Boston, and we changed planes, and then we ended up flying to Shannon in Ireland. Shannon Airport.
Yeah.
So, we went over there for the first time. It was a 2-week long vacation, which you've ever been on a 2-week long vacation with your parents, it can be very stressful. One thing you should always say about family is that you should know who they are. Our father is a bit of a stress case.
Yeah.
He is very anxious. Taking his entire family, including his 2 children, at the time I was turning 22. I turned 22 while we were there.
Yeah, because I was already 18.
Yeah. So when we were there, it was a bit stressful for my dad. First off, we land and we get a wrong side driver. Stick shift. Manual.
Yeah.
And he's going to drive us on the wrong side of the road through a country that only has roundabouts,
which he's terrified of.
He hates traffic circles. He's been up north where they had a bunch of those, I guess, and it just ruined him.
It scarred him for life.
So he's doing that, and we're all tired. We've been on traveling for about a day.
Because time shift and everything is so jet lagged.
Yeah.
But when we first walked into the country, customs was closed. You just walk right in. It was the weirdest thing.
We did not do that on the way back.
No.
Going back to America was much harder than it was to leave the country. I'll say that.
So what was it? The guy at the airport, when my dad got the rental, tells my dad, it's a giant loop. So if you want to get comfortable with it, take and just make a couple laps. No one's going to say anything. Everyone does it to practice.
Drive slow.
Yeah, take your time and don't rush. You'll be fine. My dad's like, all right, gets in, packs up. Now I want to make this clear, starting right now, that my seat had been put forward so we could put luggage in the back. And then it was shut. But my seatbelt got stuck and lodged in the seat. We couldn't get the seat open, and I didn't have a seatbelt. So I'm riding in the back of this car the entire time without a seatbelt.
True.
My dad gets in the car, says, I got this.
Let's go.
Puts it in the first, stalls out. He tries it like 3 times, finally gets it, and then we start going.
We just
never makes any loops, just drive right into the freaking...
Just goes down the highway.
Yep. We're going to get to that hotel.
Because from where we landed in Shannon, we were driving down to the Ring of Kerry.
Yeah.
I think it was it's one of the smaller towns. I think it was Killarney.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful little town. If you ever get over there, it's absolutely picturesque. It's a high tourist area.
Yeah.
Because it is very pretty, and there's a couple of castles we went to. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it was nice, but
wonderful trip.
Drove straight there. At one point, we went through one of the roundabouts, went into a small town. My dad hit the curb. We thought he ripped the tire off.
Put an egg on the tire, literal egg coming out of the side of the tire.
The air was, it was crazy. And we actually made we couldn't find the actual location where we were staying. And we drove around for a little bit once we actually got there. And when we got to where we were going, we pulled right up into a McDonald's version, like an Irish McDonald's.
Yeah.
And got out of the car, and everyone just walked away from each other. We were all stressed and tired. I think we ended up getting some breakfast.
Well, the very first roundabout we went through, my dad went the wrong way.
Yeah,
because you're coming into a roundabout, you're on the left side of the road.
Yes.
And you always go right. Yes. So instantly he goes right, but that's oncoming traffic. Luckily, it was early, and there were only a couple cars on the road.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing had just been very stressful. So, like I said, we got breakfast, and then I think we slept in the car because the place that we were going to didn't open until later.
Yeah, it wasn't open until 11, and we got there 7, 8 a.m.
Yeah, it was very early.
We were all so stressed out that we all just passed out in the car.
We just needed some sleep. So, the people that were actually supposed to open this place up, because our parents had because we're going to be there for 2 weeks.
Off season. It was in May. We used it as, basically a place that we would drive out and do day trips from, because Ireland's not that huge of a place. Yeah.
So... And we wanted to see the southern part of it, for the majority of the time we were there.
And my mom had already looked up family that she wanted to go see that was in Cork.
Yes.
And so the plan was we were going to drive into Cork.
Right. So my mom had really planned the whole thing. And I mean, she did a pretty good job for researching it. Mm-hmm. I mean, 2005, the internet wasn't really
what it is today. No.
So, yeah. But anyway, so we were waiting for this person to come show us how to do everything. We actually took a video, but we can't find it.
The VHS, it's all gone.
So sad. It was awesome.
We did a whole tutorial of the apartment place.
Showed you everything that we had. It was pretty cool. Like, super nice.
Yeah.
It was a 2-story, like, condo type place.
Yep.
It was probably nicer than the house we lived in at the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, gorgeous glass front door. We each had our own bedroom.
The shower downstairs was only cold water. We couldn't figure out how to turn the hot water on. Like, we tried everything.
No one was there to show us how to turn it on.
Yeah.
Like we said, like how to log in, and they do things differently overseas in Europe.
All the power outlets have their own breakers on them. They're all on off switches.
But they're not near the things.
No.
That was the problem.
Yeah, it's weird.
So anyway, the cold water showers, there was this heater
on the side of like you'd be in the shower, you'd come out of the shower, and then it was like this heater is like this little box like this big.
Yeah.
And you turn that thing on and it just shot out this like jet hot air.
Yeah.
And the whole room would heat up to probably like 90, 100 degrees in probably like 10 seconds. It's like, whoop.
It was phenomenal. I don't know who was making that, but they were doing it right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because it would literally warm you up. I mean, Ireland, they stay relatively cooler.
We never got the TV to work.
We got the TV to work, but we couldn't change stations.
And it was always like screwy looking.
Yeah, it was always just not right. But we weren't there to watch TV anyway, so we weren't worried that much about it. They had a washer dryer that was like the size of a dishwasher here in America. And it basically, you were supposed to wash your clothes in it and then dry them in there. But you were supposed to first like take the clothes out of the washer and then hang them up in the kitchen.
To dry.
To drip dry.
Right,
and then put them back in there because it couldn't do it otherwise. So
weirdest thing.
That was a bit interesting.
Right next door to where we were staying was the Eggcorn Pub.
Awesome place. Go there if it's still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
While we were there, they had the number voted the year previous.
Yeah.
He was voted the #1 bartender in all of Ireland.
In 2004.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. Yeah. And we went there and we could walk through a fence. There was like an opening in the fence.
And there were like hedges.
Yeah.
Like a hedgerow you could go through.
And we could just like walk through and just go right there. So a lot of times, like, we'd be out sightseeing all day, come home and have dinner there, or go out all day and then have drinks there. And the drinks were awesome.
Oh, God, yes.
It was so good.
All the food was delicious. And everywhere you went, if they had the soup of the day, it was always vegetable soup. Yes. Everywhere we went.
So if you asked, what is the soup of the day, it was always
vegetable soup.
Vegetable soup. So I guess like after that day, we went over to one of the first castles. I think it was Ross.
Okay.
The Ross Castle. And it's gorgeous. It's one of the more taken care of, repaired. You can go inside and see all the rooms and walk around. Very good tour guide.
Is that the one that had the meal afterwards?
No. That was one of the last days we were there. But it's right by the water. Like I said, the whole area is beautiful. We rode in the buggy and over to see the waterfalls. We saw the monkey tree. So they have a monkey tree there.
Yep.
In case you look that up, you can Google that.
Yep.
I guess like we went and did that, but that was really cool. They light the castle at night. We were there during the day, but there was a lot of people, and the people that were there were really friendly.
Yeah.
We parked our car and we were walking over, and as we were walking over, like people had stopped and said, are you American? And we were like, yeah, we're American. Oh, where are you from? And we said, we're from Virginia. And they're like, oh,
right by DC.
DC. Are you afraid for your lives? We were like, not that close to DC. It's not like we actually go there all the time. But you actually live much closer now.
Yeah.
But they were like, oh, we hear about all of like the, the shootings and the violence. And we were just kind of like, no. We live in like a beach resort area. It's called Virginia Beach. It's really nice. Not much crime. It's a pretty nice place to live. So that was entertaining.
Yep.
But I guess for a couple of times we would go into like the small area, Clarny, the place itself. And, we went for breakfast. They had blood sausage every morning and French fries.
Then we went to that one restaurant. It was USA Town. I don't know. We're in Ireland. My parents
decided. It was like our third day.
Decided that they want to go to a place called USA Town. It's like, why do this?
Because I guess they wanted some American food.
I guess. So we go in there and they had a, what was it, kind of cowboy burger, buffalo burger.
I think it was the cowboy burger or something like that.
It had bacon on top of a patty with like cheese on it.
Yeah, it was a bacon cheeseburger.
Bacon cheeseburger.
And
I was like, all right, I'll get that. So I'm like, sweet, blah, blah. Everyone else gets their food. It gets to me, and the bacon on it has hair. No shit you, that fucking long. And I was just like, I'm not hungry anymore. It was like,
to this day, We make fun of that. It is hysterical. It was literally just like where they had, you could tell that came from a real pig.
Uh-huh. Oh.
It was not like, some sort of other like tofurkey type thing. So yeah, to this day, we're always like, remember that, bacon you got when you were in Ireland? Oh, so it's pretty funny.
Oh.
So after that, I guess we would take small day trips and we would gradually go down like the Ring of Kerry. And it's like this whole area. It's absolutely gorgeous. The Dingle Peninsula is down there.
Cliffs of Moher.
Yeah, the Cliffs of Moher we went to one day. I think that was like right on my birthday.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous scenery. Everything is green. If you've ever seen pictures of Ireland and it's just green and like they have the rows
and
of
the temperature
walls.
is always perfect.
Yes. It was, it never got above like, I think 70.
No, I don't even got that hot.
Yeah, if it got that hot when we were there in May. It was absolutely gorgeous. It rained a little bit, but it didn't rain all day.
No, it was just quick passing mist.
Yeah, so it's just absolutely gorgeous as you would think it would be. We ended up going one day to kiss the Blarney Stone at Blarney Castle.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and did that. We literally just went and did a bunch of trips. Now, that's not to say there wasn't stress.
The train.
Yeah, because I think the day that we were actually going to go to Blarney Castle, that was the day that we were going to be near Cork. And that was where my mom had actually wanted to stop and see people.
Well, like the whole plan was around the fact that we would go to Cork.
Right. And that was a very big thing. As you know, most people that emigrated, they listed their place of origin was Cork, Ireland.
Yeah.
It's a big happening hotspot. A lot of people say they came from there. So we were going to stop in and do some like record looking and things like that. Well, my dad was afraid that we were going to get back late.
And he was also mad at my mom.
Yes.
I can't remember what he was mad at her for.
I can't remember. It was something, I don't know, some reason. So anyway, he decided that we were not going to stop and we were going to just keep driving because my mom couldn't tell him exactly where it was.
Exactly. Yeah. And so
no
he was
GPS,
frustrated.
nothing like that.
So she's got like the map out and she's like, oh, and it's got the sign that says Cork and it points. And my dad was like, well, there's Cork. And we just kept on driving.
Yeah. Literally.
She was so mad at him.
There was no speaking in the car for about an hour after that. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was a fun time. And then I think later that week, we actually ended up taking the train, which goes all the way from the southern portion of Ireland to the northern part where Dublin is. And we had decided that my dad shouldn't drive that far, and it was just easier to take the train. So we walked over to the train station.
The roads are also really narrow.
Yes, and
the
cars are like RC racers compared to what we have in America. So, yeah, it was, whatever. So we go over to the train station, and my dad's like, well, of course we're there early because my dad's always everywhere early. Before they even had like 9/11, my dad was like 4 hours early to the airport.
Yeah.
So we just grew up that way. So we're all pretty much, on board with what's going on. Get to the train station and Visa is down. And my dad cannot use his cards because, we have American dollars, but we had to convert a lot of money like cash and things like that. So we each had all of our own money that we were using to buy souvenirs. Our parents were really good about paying for like all the rest of the trip. We're actually, spending our own money. So my dad comes over and he's like, give me your money. Give me all of your money.
It's like you got mugged by your dad.
So he took that and he took our passports. Yeah. So
you're not going anywhere now.
Yeah. So he like took our passports and all of our, euros and all of our like change. And, he's like, I need this. So we go back over because they had told him that, Visa would probably come back up. It was just temporarily down. So when he got back over to buy our tickets, Visa was back up.
Mm-hmm.
So he used his card and he bought, our tickets. And then he held on to the money in case Visa was down later again.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're getting that shit back.
We're kind of like, okay, whatever. So we get on the train and we, take this journey and we go to Dublin and we get to Dublin and, we get a cab, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of places we wanted to go. We went to St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yep.
And that is beautiful and interesting place. It's right near Trinity University, if I remember correctly, where the Book of Kells is.
Yep.
And that's really awesome. There's a ton of people there. But the one thing for us having had like a, grew up in the church type background is that there is a gift shop in the back of St. Patrick's Cathedral where they're like selling stuff. And if you've ever
vendors in the church, like
right in the
temple.
church, like right in the back of the church.
Vendors in the temple.
So it's like there's a parable in the Bible for people that don't know about, like how they had like the change collectors or the change makers or whatever they called them.
Yeah.
Making money in the back of the church, and like Jesus overturns the table.
Tables.
So for us, we're kind of like, it's a bit strange, but we're not Catholic anymore. Family was Catholic.
Yeah,
then our grandmother married a Protestant, and we're no longer, Catholic.
Oh,
but
that's fun stuff.
very interesting, but absolutely gorgeous. Handmade tiles, handmade stained glass windows, gorgeous. So from there, I believe we saw a couple of things there, and then we went to the Viking.
Now, had Mom had her knee replaced yet?
No,
Yeah.
our mother had both knees replaced in her lifetime, but she was going to have the first one done when we got back, I think.
Yeah.
So
her knees were bothering her.
yes.
So
any kind of walking really bothered her.
yeah, so it was bad, and she was getting tired and getting a little worn out.
Yeah.
This is before she was diagnosed with diabetes, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
her blood sugar was probably like super high, low, whatever.
Yeah.
And she decides she's not going to go into the museum, the Viking museum.
Oh no, we went in.
Oh, and she went back.
Yeah.
And she left because there was like multiple floors and multiple rooms and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
it was a huge museum dedicated to like the Vikings, and like they have a lot of this going on there because it's Northern Ireland, I guess, and like you can go on like boat tours that like they're buses and then they drive right into the water and all kinds of stuff. So we went to the actual museum itself, and our family's always been big museum people.
Yeah.
So we went in there, and there's like all kinds of like things you can touch, and it's very like hands-on. Like Ireland in general is very hands-on. Let's opposed to America, where it's very much like everything's in glass.
Now at this point, my mom is getting like she's in pain. My dad's already like frustrated and it's been getting worse and worse. It's like
he's already thinking about when we have to leave.
On the old tension scale there, Rube.
He's really thinking that, you know, how am I going to get my family back? We have to get back to the train station. We have to get a cab to get back to the train station. It's like noon.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to be back. I think the last train left at like 5. So we have hours. And it's not that, like, Dublin's not a huge place.
It's like a
city,
5-minute taxi ride to get to the train station.
So he's already panicked that we're not going to be back in time.
Like, we don't go to the Guinness factory.
Yeah, we couldn't go to the Guinness factory.
And we didn't have time for that.
Which is so sad because we wanted to go there. But, so he's like freaking out. So me and Narkish, we're just like, you know, second floor of like 4. We just got there. We're like looking at stuff, like how they built the boat.
My dad is rushed through this thing. Like he is like sprinted. If you could like take and grab hold of someone and like force them through. That's what he did pretty much. Like he ran through it as fast as he possibly could so that he'd be done. It'd be over with.
God.
Then he got impatient waiting on us.
Yes.
So he had to come back in and try to coerce us.
He like comes up to us and he's like, your mother is downstairs. And we were like, okay, Dad. Because Mom's legs have been bad for a while. She would oftentimes tell us, you know, just go ahead and have fun. Do what you want to do.
I'll be right here.
I'm just going to wait here.
Yeah.
We had gone to go see, I think they have like monuments down on the cliffs where they had the famine houses where so many people lost their lives because of, you know, the potato famine.
Yeah.
And things like that. So we had gotten to go down and see some of these like older areas where it was a long walk. Mom couldn't go. When we saw like the oldest church in Ireland.
Yep.
It was like basically built by like rocks that were like, you know, made into like this like V shape.
They're perfectly stacked. It never leaked.
Yeah, it never leaked. Yeah. It was really cool. So we got to see that. So she did. And so like the whole trip we were kind of aware of that. But anyway, my dad, after he tells us that, he says, she's been down there for like 20 minutes. So we're both kind of like.
And now you can see like he's starting to get more and more.
Like
it's
a
visibly
vein in his head is starting to like, you know, vibrate. So we were like, do you want us to go? And he's like, yeah, we need to go. And we're like, okay. So kind of miffed. Just go back downstairs. My mom was like, oh, you guys are done? And we were like, well, we were told that we had to come now. So.
And it wasn't a free museum.
We had paid money to be in this museum.
Yeah.
And we didn't go to the gift shop. We didn't get to do anything. So
well, we didn't have any money to do anything with anyway.
That was the big thing too in Dublin is that they had a lot of gift shops and like we were trying to like, we knew we were winding down our last couple of days of being in Ireland. So we're
2005, you don't have iPay and all the other stuff.
Yeah. So we're trying to like, you know,
people still carry cash.
Stuff. Yeah. Like while we're there. And my thing is like, I like to buy postcards, postcards of where I've been. And then I think like I was trying to buy stuff for the people I worked with at the time. You know, they had like these little, what do they call them? Stout stones. And every time you're supposed to like rub them if you want beer.
Yeah. Like
little jokey type gifts. So there's a lot of shops like that. But every time I went in, I had to say, Dad, can I have some money? And I'm sure people were like, that girl's just taking all her dad's money. But it's my money. It's my money that my dad has.
My money and I want it now.
And he really doesn't want us to spend too much in case Visa's down because we're not going to be able to buy tickets to get back. So the whole thing was like really convoluted. But we ended up going back to the train station, which is pretty nice. And my mom is like, look, I just want to eat. Let's find somewhere to eat. So my dad's like, I'll go find a place. So we're sitting with my mom, waiting with my mom. And he comes back and he takes us to
McDonald's.
Yeah.
And he says, this is the only place open.
This is the only place you can eat in this train station.
Yeah, there's no other places to eat. It's the only one.
We were like, okay. So we go over there.
It's like all underground here.
Yeah.
And we're just like, all right, you know,
Right.
why not?
Whatever.
We'll believe him.
Okay. So we go over, we sit down, we basically get McDonald's food.
Where they charge you for ketchup.
They do.
They do.
For each packet.
And for ice.
And if you wanted extra ice, I was like, can I have a little bit more ice? They do not give you ice in Ireland.
Yeah, you have to ask for it, and then when they give it to you, they're like stingy with their ice.
They are. It's just like in America, you know, you do like the whole like scoop full of ice and then they like put soda in it. That is not an issue. Maybe it's because like people complain that they're getting more water than soda. I don't know. So yeah. So we finish that, we eat, and then my dad's like, we should probably walk over now. It's like 3-4 o'clock.
Well, no, because we had like 2.5 hours.
Because the train wasn't coming back until like, was it 5 or 6?
5. I think
Yeah,
it was 5.
I think it's 5.
Yeah,
so
that's the train that he got.
we had plenty of time. So my dad's like, we should walk over
We're
there now.
in the train station.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like an airport where it's huge. It's a train station.
Yeah. So we start walking over and we start passing restaurants.
Oh, like
sit down and eat like actual
steak,
food. Yeah.
like nice, like
real food.
4-star freaking restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like we're like, oh my God, like everyone we pass, like my mother is getting like more and more irritated. So we finally sit down. We don't have anything else to do. We're just like waiting. It's kind of been like a bummer. It's like a good day because we've been to Ireland, but it's kind of a bummer. So we go to get on the train once they say you can actually start pre-boarding.
Yep.
So we get on like the first people, and me and Narkish sit further back. My parents sit like right on like one of the front seats.
Right.
But Dad had to go do something.
And no, Mama had to go do, or
that's
they
what
weren't sitting next to each other for some reason.
For whatever
of them
reason.
One of them had to get up and move.
Yeah.
And someone, like when they came, like someone sat next to Dad.
Yes.
And like my dad's on the inner seat, and the guy sits on like the aisle seat.
Oh my God.
And he's got this cough the entire time.
If you've
He's
ever-
like, he looks dirty. He smells like diesel fuel.
If you've ever been around like homeless people, like just like being on the streets and like the oils and like, you know, everything like that, that was what it was. And when he was breathing, he was just breathing out like oil fumes.
Yeah.
It was like the craziest
And he was
thing.
just rasping the entire time.
He sounded like he might have the plague. It was, I mean, we felt bad for him, but it was just kind of the same time you're like, you didn't want to be near him because you did not know what was going on.
He's sitting next to my dad, and he's just like, coughing on him the entire time.
Yeah. Oh my God. So we're sitting there.
My dad never says a word.
Doesn't say anything.
Doesn't
Dad
say
is like
anything. He
ignoring.
just sits there.
those
He's
guys
just kind of
there.
like looking out the window.
Like whatever. So Mom sits down, comes back, and our mother has this whole thing. I guess our dad too, where the strangest people will come up and just sit and talk to them and tell them their whole life story.
Yeah, instantly.
Just like my dad's usually drunks, like people that are literally drunk at the time.
Yeah.
And then my mother, it's more of like people, like we were walking one day over at the rec center, and this guy came up and just told my mom, like, my wife's going to leave me and I've been cheating on her and I really love her and I want her back. And I'm like 11 and she's like, ride home and get your dad. And I was like, oh my God. So I rode my bike home and got my dad, but like just the most random things ever. People just come up to them and just tell them everything. So this guy is like,
It's a family curse, by the way.
yeah. He's like talking to like our mom and our dad, like tell him like he can't move because he's so sick. My mom's like, well, I was going to sit by my husband. And he was just like, I'm too sick to move and stuff like that. That dude rode like the train like the whole way up to like where or down to where we were at in the south. So that was our trip to Dublin.
Yeah.
Essentially, you know, we got back off. There were no other issues. Visa was never down again,
Nope.
anything like that. So to get closer to the airport, so we didn't have to go as far, we actually went back up north and stayed at a bed and breakfast.
Yep.
And we went to a place called Bunratty Castle. And at Bunratty Castle, they have like the outlying areas of like a castle as though if you were like in a feudal time.
Mm-hmm.
And you could go and like see like the thatched roof houses that you're like more iconic for Ireland and go to the castle. People come back and play harps.
They have a tour, and
Yeah.
then it's a 4-course meal.
It's a 4-course meal you eat with your hands. They give you mead. They have free
Drinking
wine.
mead the entire time.
Yeah, they have like free wine they give you. Well, free part of the dinner.
Yeah.
And then
red
like,
and white.
they're singing and dancing the
Yeah.
whole time.
You have red wine, you have white wine, and
Yes.
you have water. Those are your 3 choices with dinner.
That was all you had. Yeah. For the most part in Ireland, it was tea and then like alcohol.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it was.
Delicious, delicious alcohol.
So yeah, drinking when you go on vacation is awesome. But we actually go and toured the whole ground, and that was really cool. It was a really nice place. And then we actually went back and had dinner that night. Well, they gave us like mead the first time, and we thought that was great because, you know, the mead was, you know, really good. It's sweet. It's a honey kind of wine. If you've never had mead, it's
It only
very
takes
good.
a couple months to make.
Yeah, you can actually make it. Our dad actually ended up making some when we came back. And then they actually brought us in for like the whole dinner. So we sat down, and the dancers come out and we're drinking. Now this wine that they make there is not my favorite. That's all I'll say. It tasted more like vinegar. I thought it was
delicious.
Jason drank all the wine.
Oh, I was also 18, which is the legal drinking age in Ireland.
I think it's 16.
I thought it was 18.
Whatever.
Anyways,
he was old enough to drink.
I was good.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much like drink as much. I gained 20 pounds while I was there. In 2 weeks, I gained 20 pounds.
Yeah. The food there is awesome. I mean, like people say like Italy and France, but the food in Ireland was really good. Their boxy was so good.
Oh.
So, but so anyway, we stayed in this, bed and breakfast type place. We had like 2 different rooms. And then we got the next morning and ended up going back to the airport so we could fly home.
Yep.
Again, coming into Ireland, no customs.
Coming into the United States.
Leaving Ireland to go to the United States.
No customs.
3 hours we waited.
Was it that long? That's
Yes.
right.
It was 3 hours we waited for someone to come by and just stamp our passports from the American side of things. We flew back, I think, U.S. Air.
Yeah.
We flew Aaron or something like that to fly over.
Yeah.
And we flew back on U.S. Airways. Terrible experience.
Coming in was wonderful.
Yeah.
Leaving, horrible.
Leaving was horrible.
It was like riding with Delta.
We had a guy ahead of us that was trying to take a guitar with him. He had a guitar in a case, and he protested with the person that was like checking him in. And basically, like the guard came over and was like talking to this guy, and then we never saw the dude again.
Yep, he
never got on our flight.
He did not make it.
So they brought all the flights in that were leaving, and we waited so long. They had us all sit down on the floor in rows, waiting for the people with the passports to come over. And all they did was they manned these little like stations. They looked at your passport and then they stamped it. And then you walked through and then you had to wait. We missed all of our flights. Everything was completely hosed up after that.
Yep.
So we actually ended up flying back to Boston, and we got back to Boston, and they kept changing our flight as far as where we were going to go because of this error with like being delayed.
Well, when we get to Boston, you got to go through customs that way. Remember, Dad?
Yeah. So our mother decided that it'd be a great idea to bring back shamrock seeds.
Because her mother had shamrocks.
Her mother grew shamrocks, and she wanted to get like authentic,
real Irish shamrocks.
Seeds to bring back. So you have to declare everything that you're bringing back in.
And
so
you're not allowed to bring seeds of any plant.
Right. Yeah, you can't bring back, foreign plants and things like that.
You have to actually like order that and have it shipped, and if it's
right.
You can't do it by yourself.
Right. So essentially what happened though is there's also like a little piece of paper, and you're supposed to write down what you're declaring. So like other people are like writing down like a couple of things. Like it's only like this big.
It's a little like index card.
Yeah, it's like an index card. So like our father like takes us over and makes us write like every single thing we bought. Like as though he was like an auditor for the IRS.
Yes.
It was intense. So made us write down every single thing we had. And then as we're going.
Well, my mom does not declare the seeds.
Right.
She puts them in her purse.
Right.
And is like, they're not going to check anything. Like, they're not going to really
They're not
look.
checking anything.
And literally, they're not. They were just like,
they're just reading the card. They're
just
like,
trying to get people through the line. You guys look normal.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, let them go. Little do they know. Little do they know.
Little do they know that we get to this point where our father actually turns and says, to the guy, he's like,
she's got seeds. Yeah. She's got seeds.
Pretty much just like that. Like literally like narked on our mother, right? And then like the guy was like, do you have seeds? And she was like, well, I have shamrock seeds. And he was like, okay. He's like, well, you have to throw them away.
I need those. And he takes them from her and throws them right in the trash.
Yeah. Like probably would have never known they existed. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
She was already walking through. Like she had already passed the guy, and that's when my dad was just like, "Oh hell no, she didn't." Yeah. So basically, breaking the law. Yeah, lawbreaker. You cannot be in this family because Dad will turn you in. So that was entertaining, and then they kept moving our connecting flight, and Boston is a really big airport. We came from a very small airport in Norfolk, Virginia, which is one terminal. Yeah. Well, there's satellite terminals, and they kept putting us on buses and shipping us around and around. And then our mom's knee doesn't feel good. So, we were slower. By the third time that we had gotten onto a bus to go to a different terminal, the people were screaming at the stewardesses and the airline personnel. Oh, because it wasn't just us. It was like everyone
was like, we're not going anywhere else.
Was trying to get to where we were going, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, they were like, we're not going anywhere else. I thought they were going to call security. I mean, like back in the day, it probably would have made the news. Oh yeah, it was pretty bad. So basically, everyone refused to move anywhere. So they brought another plane to where we were actually at and put us on that and flew us back to Norfolk. So it was it was interesting. So it was a good trip. It was a very stressful trip. Since then, we've pretty much said that going forward, we're going to just drug our father against his knowledge.
Xanax.
Yeah, we're going to grind some Xanax.
Dad, if you're watching this,
you should go in bed.
It might have already happened.
Yeah, you might have already been drugged at some point. Yeah, just for your benefit and ours, so we can just, relax.
It's for everybody. It's
have a good time.
for the greater good.
Absolutely. So, if you ever go to Ireland, though, it is gorgeous.
Highly recommend it.
We went horseback riding while we were there.
Mm-hmm.
That was also very awesome. There's just a lot you can do.
Oh yeah, there's so much.
Yeah.
Never a dull day. All right.
Absolutely.
So I guess the last one I decided to talk about.
Yes.
I guess since it's like the first interview kind of thing, first vlog, might as well go to back to the basics, back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So every summer growing up in Virginia Beach, our friends would go to the beach or go on vacation to other places.
Disney World,
Disneyland.
It was more of a wealthy area, so there was a lot of people that really traveled. They went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So
no, we did not. We called it Nazi summer camp.
Yeah.
Actually, not just for the anti-Semitism there.
Yeah.
Our mother was born on 4/20, same day as Hitler.
Yes.
So, and there was a lot of jokes, correlations that go back to that.
There are a lot of jokes about it. Yes. So essentially, when other people would be going on vacation to, hot spots, we got to go to Busch Gardens once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And our parents did have 4 kids.
Yeah.
And our mother did not always work. I mean, she worked some of the time.
Well, we got 4 kids. It's kind of like somebody's got to watch all of us, and we weren't the best kids.
Yeah. So it's expensive, as far as childcare and things like that. So she was at home with us a lot. So it was one person's income.
Yeah.
And what she would decide is that she had 4 workers who could actually help make upgrades on the house.
We were little Mexicans.
Yeah, we were laborers. So I think my favorite was the year that she decided to put the patio in the back.
That's exactly where I was going to go with it.
Yeah. So we know how to do a lot of things now that other people might not know how to do, which we
learned at a very young age.
Yeah. Yeah. But we had to basically plane the backyard outside of the back door, which was just dirt. And
level it out,
chop up the tree roots.
Get them dug out, make sure that you can. Then you had to stomp it all down.
Yeah,
then you had to add the sand. Then you had to put the pavers on top of that.
Yep.
And
then we made a border.
We did a concrete border that went all the way around.
And we also made a ramp for the riding lawnmower that we used to cut the backyard. So we ended up doing that.
Where the gate was.
I just remember it was probably around July when we started this. Mom had bought the pavers on sale. And she'd have them delivered by fork truck.
No. We had to go and get those pavers.
Is that how we got them?
Yeah, I had to pick up every single one and load it onto a freaking pallet and then push that.
Clearly blocked this out.
All the way to the back and then load them into the car, get them to the car. And she parked at the bottom of the driveway.
Yeah.
So then we have to carry it all the way up the driveway into the backyard where we're putting it. That's not including the concrete.
Yeah.
Now, how old were we at the time? I know I was probably, 8, 9?
You were probably in elementary school, and I think I was probably in 6th grade. So we were not that old.
Yeah, I mean, that was 2nd grade, 2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Taken and get those 60-pound bags of concrete. And I'd be like, well, you can put that on your back.
Yeah, and we would mix the bags in the wheelbarrow with the hose, mix the cement, and then pour it right from there. So, I mean, that was what we did for summer.
I would invite friends over. I'd call them up. Yeah. They weren't at the beach or something like that. My mom hated the beach. She didn't like the sun. She's Irish. She'd burn.
She doesn't like the ocean front because there's too many tourists and people.
Yeah.
And she didn't like that either.
So she was just anti-beach. We never went. We went with somebody else.
22 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I still live there, but 22 years with our parents, and it's crazy.
So I would always call up my friends and be like, hey, you guys want to come play outside or something? And because landlines, you actually had to call people's houses. Sorry,
and no, they're not.
It wasn't cell phones or anything like that.
That's
you had
right.
to dial it and
no Facebook.
Yeah, none of that stuff.
None of that.
So they'd come over and I'd hand them a shovel and be like, all right, get to digging. Because that's how it was. And then they didn't want to come over and play anymore.
Yeah, people were always like, what are you doing? And it's we have to do this. Well, can't you get out of it?
Can you come over and swim in the pool? Our house would back up to their house. You could see it across the chain link fence. Yeah. It was only a 4-foot high fence. And you could see them playing in the pool. They'd be sitting there yelling for you to come over. And you're like, no, I got to stand here and sweat to death and dig.
Yeah. I mean, and there was always some summertime big project that she had planned.
Always
did. It was not uncommon to actually have a dump truck deliver a whole load of mulch to the yard or something like that. So, and then we had to spread that using wheelbarrows and buckets. And everybody else had gardeners or landscapers that came, but not us. So that was how we kind of grew up. So therefore, if you've ever heard our podcast, we talked about digging your own grave.
Right there.
That was more recent.
Yeah.
It's basically for us still the same thing, just an ongoing version of it. So,
it never ends.
It never really ends.
That's why I don't go over there too much.
Yeah. Living close by, I live 3.5 hours away. You live about 30 minutes.
Every time you go over there, it's like, I got this for you. I got this for you to do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like she's been waiting.
Yeah, for you to get over there.
To get over there to do something.
And I think now at this point, it's just so common that it's like she doesn't even think about it.
I think the straw that broke the camel's back of me actually going over there and helping was the day that I pulled all those weeds. Like they got a flower bed in front of their house.
Yes.
And they have like these 2 little hedges, 3 hedges right there, like hedge bushes. And in front of that, she had all like these flowers, but they had like been weeds had taken over, and they were like 4 or 5 feet high. No one had done anything, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pull these out. I've been working at the golf course all day. It was hot out, and I went over and I rang the doorbell, and no one answered the door. And I was like, I know she's there. I can hear the dog. And I looked up, and she was looking at me through the window, and she shut the blind and never answered the door. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish pulling all these weeds out, and then that's the last I'm going to actually help.
I can't imagine why you didn't want to like go over there after that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You're just a bad son. So, yeah, can't imagine what it is. So, yeah. But anyway, so that is our, Don't Be Extra Unscripted episode. Thanks again to Narkish.
Always fun.
So, really
Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, and look forward to seeing more videos.
Oh, yeah.
And definitely more podcasts. So, don't be extra.